passed a draconian law that doesn't just allow but mandates the police to stop anyone they think might be an illegal alien. Mandates the police. They must stop them. If they don't stop them, it allows citizens to call them in and report them for not stopping them. Well, this has caused a reaction that's pretty remarkable. Anybody here a basketball fan? Probably not.
No.
You are?
No.
You're not? You should be. Just kidding. But it meant that the playoffs are going on right now. And the Phoenix Suns, a team from Arizona, had a vote and voted to change their jerseys. And their jerseys now say Los Suns, which means the Suns in Spanish. Los Suns. New York Knicks took a vote and changed their jersey to Nueva York, Spanish for New York. This is unbelievable to me. But I'll give you another quick example. There's a prison abolitionist movement that I'm a part of that's growing. But it started as a death penalty abolitionist movement. 20 years ago, must be almost 20 years ago, the state of Illinois decided to execute a guy named John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy was a serial murderer, kidnapped and murdered and tortured young gay boys. And they decided to put him to death. And on the date that he was to be executed, I was so sickened by the reporting on it, by the kind of celebratory mood on the radio, that I decided to drive down all by myself to the state prison and carry a little sign that said, "Thou shalt not kill." Pretty stupidly ineffective, right? And I got down to the state prison, and I couldn't park within a mile of the state prison because there were so many cars of young people having beer parties and listening to boom boxes who were going to be there and celebrate when Gacy finally got electrocuted. Well, I felt, I've often felt marginalized in my life, but never so much as that night. So I hid my little "Thou shalt not kill" sign and I crept to the front of the prison. And there I found 8 nuns over 50, 2 lawyers and me. And the 11 of us stood there singing "We Shall Overcome" with candles until Gacy was killed. And I felt like an idiot, but I wasn't sorry I'd done it. Because, sometimes you just have to stand up for what you think is right and speak the truth as you understand it, even though it's not, the calculation isn't that it's going to work. The calculation is that it'll humanize me, and at least I'll put my singular little voice out into the world. And so I did. 2 years later, the lawyer who was standing next to me won the first wrongful conviction suit in Illinois history, got a guy off death row. He then won 3 more, boom, boom, boom. And the journalism students at Northwestern University began investigating the death penalty evidence. And it turned out of the 27 people on death row, 17 of them were exonerated ultimately because of DNA evidence. So we had a system to kill people that was that far off, just in its own terms. And while I don't think the people of Illinois are abolitionists the way I feel like I am, but the people of Illinois don't want to just shoot randomly people in the head because a crime has been committed. The governor of Illinois, George Ryan, a corrupt, now in federal prison for corruption, right-wing Republican, was convinced to become an abolitionist, and he took everyone off death row the day before he left office. Took everyone off death row. That was a 10-year campaign. And interestingly, parenthetically, Barack Obama, a state senator, never was an abolitionist, even though that governor became one. Obama was always compromising on the issue, and Ryan was not. So that's something that changed. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of capitalism. It's not, the planet in balance, but it's a good thing. And the wonderful thing about a world as out of balance as this world is you can dive in anywhere and try to make a difference. And the one thing that I would urge you not to do is to kind of buy into the kind of cynicism and despair. I think optimism and pessimism are kind of, twins of cynicism and despair. I think it's much more healthy to get up every morning recognizing that you're an agnostic, that you don't know how things are going to turn out, and then get busy with confidence, trying to change the way we think about the big issues of our day: war, peace, economics, the environment, trying to kind of make a difference in those things. I think you'll be better for it, and the world will be better as well. anything else you want me to talk about in that regard? I've talked too long. Yes? Say it again. I'm sorry.
Has FBI ever, as far as you know, been able to infiltrate your group?
Has it been able to infiltrate our group?
Yeah.
No, it never was.
Never.
And this guy, Don Strickland, I'm sorry?
In no part, never.
I'm sorry.
They never succeeded in it.
They never did. This guy, Don Strickland, did you see the movie? This guy, Don Strickland, who was the FBI agent, he and I had a debate at the National Spy Museum in Washington, D.C. a couple of years ago. But one of the things that he said, and all the documents that have come out from COINTELPRO and from the stealing of the wonderful, wonderful action, also illegal, also vandalism, but the stealing of the FBI documents at Media, Pennsylvania, which exposed COINTELPRO, that was really the unraveling of the FBI. But there was nothing in those documents that indicated that they'd gotten anywhere near us. When we were in SDS, they were very near us. And not only were they near us, but they created all kinds of havoc within our ranks and within the ranks of the Black Panthers. They would, send communiques to one faction, claiming to be from the other faction, making all kinds of incendiary. It's nothing you wouldn't expect, but they never penetrated the Weather Underground. They never arrested any of us. And so that, too, is kind of remarkable. But what it indicates, and what I think is worth noting about it, is that even though there were many, many people who disagreed with us, nobody actually wanted us turned in. Nobody on the left, no progressives. So it didn't have the same character as what went on in Germany or Italy or even England, because even though people disagreed with us, they didn't feel that the world would be a better place if we were in prison. I ran into people who recognized me on the street every month for 10 years. I mean, virtually every month I ran into somebody. I worked marginal jobs, but I ran into people who knew me on those jobs again and again and again. So I worked in the shipyards, I worked in the orchards, and I would run into people who knew me, but had no interest in turning me in. So we were lucky, and partly we had a base of support. It was, unusual for its moment, and partly FBI incompetence was what it was. So, Goran asked about relationships with other folks. Pretty much all the people who we were comrades with back then, we're still comrades with. We still work on many issues together, notably peace and racial reconciliation, notably environmental issues and women's issues, increasingly queer